out there. Where's my slideshow? Out there. Close that. All right. So ideas to increase awareness around sexual assault. Discuss what you think is the difference between bystanders and upstanders or active bystander. I can answer that. So I think a bystander is somebody who sees something going on that you believe is wrong, but all you do is you see, and you're not doing more than that. An upstander, I think, is a bystander who decides to take a step of courage and love and stand up for whatever is going on that's not right, standing up and taking a stand against it. That's how you become an upstander. So we'll see if I'm right.
As more allegations of sexual harassment and assault make the headlines, we're finding ways to not remain silent, not look the other way when something inappropriate happens in the workplace.
So how can we better understand the line being crossed, how to report it, and what can be done to prevent it? Here with advice on how to go from bystander to upstander is certified life and business coach Celia Ward-Wallace. Good morning.
Good morning.
Just looking at all the allegations, new ones today, with Senator Franken, the allegations against Alabama Senate candidate Roy Moore. We know that two of his accusers are supported by other women who say they were told about the abuse when it happened, but they too failed to say anything, and we've seen that with a lot of these cases. Harvey Weinstein, people knew, they just didn't speak up. What is keeping people from doing the right thing?
I think there's a lot of factors, and we're in a new day and age. The times are changing and we're all learning, right? So that's something that we first of all have to look at is if you haven't maybe been doing the best you could, this is an opportunity to learn on how you can step it up. So that's what we're talking about today for everybody, not just in the entertainment industry. And I think some of the factors that stand in the way are people don't know what sexual harassment is or isn't, what is appropriate, what isn't appropriate. They also don't want negative consequences. A lot of people are risk adverse to conflict, and they feel like if they stick their neck in there and they did the wrong thing, are they going to also be, talked about or gossiped about, or are they going to have a negative impact at work as well?
You describe it as going from bystander to upstander, and there are four things we can do. The first thing you say is just be aware.
Yeah, so this is part of what we've seen also after the 2016 election is a lot of people have said, wow, I was really in a bubble. And I was unaware of the life of other people out there and what they've been going through. And certainly with all of the women's marches and women's movements happening now, women are starting to speak up, and we're seeing the momentum around this issue where people are saying, this is happening, whether it's your story or my story, it is an existing story. And as we know, only 1 in 4 women who have gone through sexual assault or harassment are even reporting it. So just the awareness of, this is probably way more prevalent than I think it is. And it's not just in the workplace, it's in the homes, it's in our communities, it's everywhere happening.
The next thing you say to do is to speak up and then to document as well.
Yeah, so if you witness something certainly that seems like a outstanding event that gives you a red flag, that's your opportunity to document, whether it's you that are the person that it's happening to or you're just a witness to it. You want to document it. Obviously, first you want to go to your initial supervisors and you want to go through your chain of command and hopefully nip this in the bud before it becomes some of these incidents that are so atrocious to us. We really want to shift the culture in the workplace where it becomes a zero tolerance workplace. We absolutely do not stand for this. And if there are misunderstandings, let's figure out a process where we can create that dialogue so we can have conflict resolution.
But isn't the fear within the chain of command? Oh, he's a tattletale, or she's stirring the waters.
Of course. Well, that's where you're getting to my punchline, which is culture changing, right? We have got to change with the times. This is an old paradigm. This is unfortunately an old masculine paradigm, an old white masculine paradigm. And we're hearing from all people that are saying that is not fitting. We have to change it. We want to take everybody along with us that wants to change too, so that we can stand for what our country believes in, which is standing up for other people, not standing in silence.
And I can tell you that the New York Times reporters who wrote the Harvey Weinstein piece, they're on NPR last night, and they were talking about the fact that someone asked, how do you vet the people who come forward, right? The women who say this happened to me 30 years ago, when they tell a relative, a friend, someone, this happened to me today, last week. And even 30 years later, when the reporters go to vet that victim and they say, yes, this happened to that person, they say, well, let me talk to your person you talked to. And that's how
Right.
it's seen as more credible then when there's that
Right.
allegation.
And if we create an environment where we tell our friends and family, you know, whatever you're going through, I'm here for you. I support you unconditionally.
Yeah.
I may not be having the same experience. I myself have not been a victim of sexual harassment or even sexual assault. However, all of the people I know in my community have. And so I've been able to say, I want to hear your story, and I want to be somebody that you can turn to that can be there to support you. And I might not know exactly what to do, but I can help you on that process to figure out what are the next steps.
Yeah. Really good information. And if you want more about Los Angeles-based certified life and business coach Celia Ward-Wallace, you can check out her website. Also, you can follow her on social media. Celia, thank you for being here.
Good to
Thank
see
you.
All right. So I got it pretty much right? So what were the 4 ways listed? Describe with your partner how we can do a better job of being an upstander in situations instead of not doing anything. Can a couple people give me something that you heard in the video that talked about ways that we can be an upstander? Yep. Any other ideas? What they talk about in that video about being an upstander? Sure is difficult. It sure takes a lot of courage. Someone said, don't be a bystander. Someone said, offering support and bringing awareness to it. You know, offering support, whereas you don't have to come up and face the person in the eyes, but you could come up to the person who is being maligned and offer support to them and come alongside them without even addressing the person who is doing the troubling activity. Someone else said, gather information and take the victim's story seriously and report the issues. Yeah, so you're just doing something about it. It doesn't have to be facing down the person who's acting in the inappropriate way, but it could just be following up and doing something about it, you know. Thank you. Excellent. How upstanders can intervene. They can take a moment and read through the following article, how upstanders can intervene. Yeah. Reporting sexual assault. Read after a sexual assault. I don't know what they mean by that. Yeah, give me a second here. No, there's nothing to read after a sexual assault. So after a sexual assault, get to a safe place, talk to someone you trust. And I know that I understand that it can be very difficult to even want to say to anybody after a sexual assault to admit what's happened. And it's easy to kind of take on guilt and feel guilty or bad about it. But finding someone you can trust to tell and to remember that this was not your fault. And then finally, if needed, to visit a medical center, there will be a special advocate there to help you with this. How to report. You can call 911. If you're in immediate danger or in an unsafe situation, you can tell a trusted adult, go to a medical service center. Those are trusted adults. You can go to school counselors, right? We have 3 school counselors at our Flex building. And so you could go to Student View to find your counselor's name and report it to them, or tell any teacher, and the teacher would know what to do with that information. Common fears about reporting. The assault doesn't fit into the descriptions that are mainly told. Example, it was only attempted. The person is someone they know, or it's even their partner. It's like their boyfriend, girlfriend, wife, husband. That would be a fear about reporting, right? Like, how am I gonna, what's gonna be the repercussions from that? There is a lack of physical damage or proof. That would be a common fear that might keep people from reporting. They are worried that someone will not believe them. That would be a fear that would keep people from reporting. They don't want to get in trouble. People who maybe are undocumented or minors or some other reason that they feel like, man, if I do this, it's going to show I'm going to get myself in trouble. These are all common fears that keep people from reporting, and reporting is really important so that this kind of thing doesn't continue, that the perpetrator doesn't continue on with this kind of behavior. Road to therapy. Therapy is treatment to help heal after a traumatic event, coping with a mental illness, and managing stress. So why do you think therapy could be helpful? Well, my idea to that would be, when something difficult happens to us, some people will naturally want to talk about it and just find, I've got to get it out. I got to talk about it. Other people will just kind of bury it and put stuff on top of it. And we've just seen that it doesn't seem like those things stay buried forever. And if they do stay buried forever, there's repercussions for that, and it comes out in other ways. And so it's better to deal with it in an open way, and that's how healing can begin to happen. So therapy basically is a way for you in a safe environment to be able to uproot and to share some of those difficult things that have happened, with a goal of seeing them the right way and dealing with them and being able to kind of put them to rest and move on. Anybody else have an opinion on why therapy could be helpful? Another option is talking to a family member or other trusted adult. Can you think of 3 trusted adults here that you have? Maybe one at school. Why do some people not turn to a trusted adult for help? Well, we've already talked about that. It's because of thinking you're going to get in trouble, thinking you're going to get someone else in trouble. Just kind of thinking through the repercussions of what's going to happen keeps people from reporting. And again, the reporting is so important, right? You think about potential future victims or potential future problems. And it's important for yourself too, to follow up with what's happened. Okay, safety planning. Read each scenario, identify a plan for each. So I am a new student here at our school. I was sexually assaulted at my old school. I'm worried and scared that it could happen to me again. Discuss 3 ways this person feels safe here at our school. What are 3 ways that this person could feel safe at our school? This person's coming to our school. They remember the last school they're transferring from. They were a victim of a sexual assault. What could they do what could they do or what could be done for them to help them feel safe at a new school? I'll come up with one here. Okay, someone wrote to me and said they could feel safe by maybe talking to a teacher about it. It's kind of what I was going to write too. I wrote, introduce themselves to their counselor and be open and share in a general way, at least in a general way, but maybe more, but at least a general way, what happened at the last school. Share their misgivings and their worries about this new school. Just kind of letting someone at the school know, hey, look, this is kind of what happened to me. And so I'm a little bit worried about this. I think that could really be helpful. Someone else wrote and said, talk to your counselor about your past. So all 3 of us basically agree with each other. Second scenario, I'm going to a party tonight with a bunch of friends. There might be some alcohol or weed there. I hope we can meet some new people tonight, but I'm worried. I have heard all the stories about sexual assault at parties. So discuss 2 ways this person can have a good time, but also feel safe from sexual assault. What would be your advice to this person who wants to go to this party? What do you think should be done in this case? All right, we got someone who said, keep an eye on your drink, stay close to friends, and leave if you feel uncomfortable. That's good advice. I like it. This is what I said. Totally different answer, but it's another possible answer. Don't go to the party. Find some friends you enjoy and trust and get together with them. So there's two thoughts about what to say to this person. It does say 2 ways, so I guess we did 2 ways. Any other idea? All right. Scenario number 3. I was recently sexually assaulted. I was out of school for a while to cope with it and go through legal proceedings. Now I'm back at school, but I don't feel safe because other students know. I value my education and deserve to continue it, but I want to feel safe and not made fun of. What's one way this person can feel safe? Seems a little bit similar to the first scenario, doesn't it? Since I was out of school for a while to cope with and go through legal proceedings. Now I'm back at school, but I don't feel safe because the students know. I value my education, deserve to continue, but I want to feel safe and not made fun of. Can anybody think of any kind of advice for this person? This is a suggestion, but I don't think, I'm just kind of half kidding, but it's could be a possibility to think of, right? Or an option, but we don't want to like pull this person out of their a social experience at school just because that they've had some sexual assault. Seems like I would say I could say what I said, go to Flex Online School, or you could perhaps go to see your guidance counselor and all that kind of thing again too. I'm going to keep going because this one does seem to be pretty similar to the first one. Hey, Mina, I just thought about something. I need to make those lessons accessible. I haven't heard anything about that yet, but I assume we need to do that. Those lessons accessible for this, right? Like what's going on with that? Let me write myself a note. That's crazy. Maybe they changed their minds or something. Oh, okay. Remember, sexual assault is never your fault and needs to be reported, even if it's hard. Go to the Sexual Assault Resource Center online for more information or support. This can be confidential and they are open 24/7. And here's a link to them, the SARC Oregon. And here is the last thing to do. Does this show up as an assignment or not? This is a lesson, then it says exit ticket, hit submit when done. Is that something that's something you have to try? I've been getting those. I guess people are doing those, right? How do you access it though? I don't see it. Is there a way that you guys, Amina, do you see that? Is there a way that you see the access to the exit ticket? Is it an assignment in Canvas? Okay. All right. Would you guys fill out your that exit ticket then? You can shoot it to me and then I'll find out, Mina, about those Apex things and hope you guys have a great afternoon outside. Beautiful weather out there, and we'll see you again on Friday afternoon.